In the live stream that we did with the Dossier podcast, um, why did Chief Bernard Parker say that LAPD officers worked for death row? Why did they say? Why did they claim he said that?
Great question. Y'all listen to not Chief Bernard Parker, Phil Carson, in his own words, and said, why do he believe that theory came up?
Around the time of all of this stuff, Chief Bernard Parks did an interview and went on the record and stated that LAPD officers worked for death row as security officers, and many of them were involved in crimes. We all know that Chief Parks has never really spoken that much about this, but he did go on the record and say that. How do you answer to that? That he's basically saying LAPD officers worked at death row and committed crimes. Now, you have stated it's only McCauley, so there was no other LAPD officers that worked for death row, to your knowledge.
I said, to my knowledge, no other police officers work for Death Row Records, but Richard McCauley, Ken Sutton, and David Love. And David Love and Ken Sutton, if they work for me more than 2 times, I would be surprised. So where do Chief Parks get that statement from? I don't know. But Richard McCauley was the only one that worked for me.
Okay, let me throw something out there. When the El Rey Theater shooting happened back in what was it, March of '95, there were a ton of police officers that were working off duty for private security for all the artists that were right there. After that shooting happened, all of those officers, they gathered them up, and not one of them said they saw anything.
Okay.
A bunch of those police officers were LAPD.
Okay. Let me respond. Let me respond to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just add a little bit more.
Okay.
After that happened, that's when Parks finally said, you know what? Enough is enough. We know this has been going on. I've been telling our police officers they can't do off-duty jobs at Death Row Records. There were memorandums that were put out there that people have. I don't know if they're public or not, but people have them. And finally, after the El Rey Theater shooting happened and no police officers said they saw anything, which means now you don't have witnesses, that's when he finally said enough is enough, and he's not going to allow LAPD officers to do private security at death row. That's where probably Parks is. Then he probably had that press conference that Don was referencing. So go ahead.
Let me say this. Number one, it wasn't a shooting; it was a beatdown. There was no gun.
A beatdown, yeah, the gang member.
Yeah. But number two, Death Row didn't have security at that location. It was a private security. It was the El Rey security was the one working for there. And those were, if any LAPD officer was working there, they were working for the security company that had the security contract at the El Rey Theater. All the
correct.
Death Row.
There's two, but you're correct. But let me stop you for a second.
Okay.
There's 2 different security companies that are going on though at this time.
Correct.
El Rey Theater has their own security.
Correct.
But the individual artists also have their own private security who were with the artists inside the El Rey Theater when the beatdown happened of the gang member that got killed.
And the Death Row artists that had security there all worked the right way at that time. And that was some Compton police officers that were disciplined, or we came and met with the black officer from the Wilshire Division. Forget his name. After it all happened, we reported it. I had a strap on my balls and let the chief know that we were there. And because we had also had the order where we wasn't supposed to be working there. But I had like 4 guys there. I was working with artists, and they were all Compton cops. There were no LAPD cops even there working for me at the time. Code 4 was a private security company that was owned by a guy named Tom Gibby, that was one of the security companies that ran the door of the location. But inside the location, I was a private security company that had a contract with the El Rey Theater, and I don't know where any of the officers worked for. or worked at.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Why he believed that? He said because of some incident at the motherfucking El Rey Theater where he knew those cops didn't work for me, they worked for Aloha Security and the house. No cops. I have 3 LAPD cops that worked for me in the history of Right Way Protective Services. Rich McCulley, David Love, and something Sutton. Kendall Sutton, I believe. Kendall Sutton, I think, only worked for me 1 or 2 times, and that was at the video shoot of how do you, the one where they got into the fight, Made Niggas video shoot. He worked on that set. David Love, this motherfucker now is the head security for Pete Carroll. He's been Pete Carroll boy for the longest, for the Seattle Seahawks. Okay? And then Rich McCulley. We all know Rich McCulley. We done heard his stories. Rich, rest in peace, no longer with us. He died on the operating table from a procedure because he was a pretty boy. Rich McCulley, he was a pretty boy. The women love Rich. Shout out Rich. Rest in peace. But that's it. All of these David Max and Raphael, they never say that, but people on YouTube love to mix that up. Y'all heard what Phil Carson said, why Chief Park said that. Y'all heard it. But y'all take that to say, oh, he said Rampart cops was working for Reggie Wright and Right Way and Death Row. Did Phil Carson say that? Y'all heard it. But that's how the white boy YouTubers do. They go on Corporate Head and all, and the Rapping Idiot and all of them. They go in, put that out there, and put it out there, and then it sticks. Like I always tell y'all, the last thing you motherfuckers hear, y'all believe. But the man right there just said, he never said that's why Bernard Park said that. He was the FBI agent that was investigating corruption. He didn't even have no say-so on the murder if he wanted to. That's an LAPD thing. When y'all learn your laws, that's a capital murder offense for the state, not a federal thing. He was there investigating federal corruption in the LAPD. I told y'all what these 3 people that work for me are doing and what they were around death row. He have never yet once said or can prove that any of those Rampart cops worked or knew death row records. And like I always tell you, if they knew, I gotta be what y'all built me up to be on YouTube. The baddest motherfucker around, and y'all know I ain't. And I'll be the first to say that I ain't. Y'all tell me and remind me in the comment section every motherfucking day that I ain't. Or they didn't know me. Because have you once ever seen a picture with any of these motherfuckers or me around? Have you ever once heard them utter my name? And they snitched on 69, not informed. I'm saying the word snitch. Somebody that got something on me, I keep telling y'all, you don't talk about people and call them out and badmouth motherfuckers if they got something on you. I'm telling you, I don't know those motherfuckers. In my mind, they were crooked and dirty. That's a dirty cop, a crooked cop. The shit that they admitted to doing, yeah. Got accused and caught of doing, yeah. Keefy D, a bitch-ass nigga. Me and Keefy D, y'all say, are in cahoots and was a pawn in the game and Orlando Anderson. Fuck those niggas, both of them. Would I say that if they had something on me? Y'all stupid if y'all think that. I'll be like, oh, they nice guys. They this, they that. People heard that audio that we released, me and John released recently, about a week ago or whatever, and say, those niggas are friends. Friends? No, motherfuckers, I told y'all. I started cultivating that relationship for you motherfuckers. Told y'all every time I was doing it that I'm going to get this nigga to come out and start talking. Asked y'all, because I said me and John ain't putting up none of our money. Y'all want to pay to have an interview with that motherfucker? I got his number. We'll call him. Y'all ship John the money, and we'll do the interview. Y'all can ask the questions. Y'all don't remember those live streams? That's how I got the nigga number. That's what I did and put out there, and how other YouTube channels eventually got the number. And Keefe started doing no interviews. From Reggie motherfucking Wright. This is how most of the content that the other YouTube channels done got from. Concerning Death Row and Tupac. Not all, I'm not saying all, but I'm over 51%. So, my point to all of that is, that's how I get the numbers, but if you don't, I'm come from the school of whining and dining. You give a little, you be nice to get what you want. That's the type of nigga I am. I'll tell you anything to get what I want from you. I'll be nice from you to get what I want. And then once I get it, and if I got a problem and if you stop doing it, I'll expose the fuck out of you once I get mad at you. You my worst enemy. Sorry. That's me. Don't know where I get it from. My daddy gets mad at me daily behind that. He tells me all the time, where do you get this way of thinking from? You can't be my son. I said, no, nigga, you wasn't around. You was running around. Being old. And you didn't raise me like you should have when it came to stuff like that. But I wouldn't change my dad over anybody's dad. My dad is my favorite person. But, yeah, inside joke between he and I. But anyway, yeah, so that's the real. Reggie done forgot the question again. But, yeah, that's my answer.